This movie presents examples of CNC woodworking combined with wood turning. The used lathe is a regular wood turning lathe, and the CNC is conducted using a router High-Z CNC-STEP 3-axis machine. We start by simple 2.5D CNC machining on plates and bowls. The CNC was conducted as a second step after a wood piece that first turned on the wood lathe. This first example shows a wooden plate with many small banana-like holes around it in a circle. The plate is made out of Indian rosewood. The cutter is a 3mm cutter that works its way down in each hole in a Z-spiral motion. And here is the final and finished piece. A second example shows a similar plate, also made out of Indian rosewood. This time we have several parallel circles of small diamond-shaped holes. Each hole is again cut in a Z-spiral down motion. Here again is the final and finished piece with 5 parallel circles diamond-shaped holes. The third example is of a bowl with 8 symmetrically similar ears. The final few seconds of machining, one of these ears is presented. And here is the final and finished piece. We continue to 2.5D cutting of deep bowls. In this bowl, 8 setups were required to cut 8 closed loops around the side walls of the bowl. This process starts with a bowl turn on a wooden lathe to create a facial silhouette. 8 holes are then 3-axis machined on the side in 8 setups, and one of these setups is shown here. This time, a 6mm tool is used in a Z-spiral down motion. Here is the final and finished piece from a general view. And here is the same piece from the side, showing the facial silhouette on the left and the right sides. A similar piece is shown here, this time with 8 cuts of vase-like shapes that can also be seen as 2 silhouettes of 2 faces looking at each other. Here is the final and finished piece, along with its cap that was similarly created. A first full 3-axis machining example is of the Penrose triangle. Penrose triangle, a well-known model with a cycle of invisibility. Each one of the 3 edges of the triangle are hidden by one other triangle edge, while also hiding the third triangle edge, creating a visibility conflict. The tangible realization of this so-called impossible triangle is created using 2 setups, one for the top part and one for the bottom part. Here is the final and finished Penrose triangle from a general view. Here is the Penrose triangle heads-on, revealing the triangle with a cycle of invisibility conflict. Here is the final piece again from a different general view. The next model is a famous computer graphics model known as the Utah teapot. Here, the left half and the right half of the Utah teapot were machined independently, glued together, only to be turned and finished as last steps. This 3-axis machining process was using a 6mm ball-end cutter. You can see the circular body of the teapot machining. Now the spot of the teapot is machined. Now the body of the teapot is machined again. And now the handle of the teapot is 3-axis machined. Here are presented the two left and right halves, completely 3-axis machined. This picture shows the two halves glued together, mounted on a wooden lathe, after being turned to remove the inside on a lathe. And there is the final and finished Utah teapot along with its cap that was turned on a wooden lathe. Here is an additional example of a deep bowl with the wickle-like top created using 3-axis machining. A 3mm ball end cutter is used here in 3-axis machining to shape the top of the bowl, which is made out of olive tree. And here is the final and finished bowl with a top wicker style around the bowl. The next piece is another olive tree piece that was turned first on a wooden lathe, creating the top round cup and the bottom round base, only to 3-axis machine the middle neck using 2 setups, from above and from below. The middle neck is 3-axis machined to form the Star of David out of 2 Penrose triangles, intertwined together. We see from the side the second setup after the first setup is complete. A 6mm ball end cutter is used in this case in the 2 above and below setups. We now see the last few seconds of 3-axis machining the Star of David shape during the second setup from above. Here is the final and finished piece. And here are 2 additional views of the Star of David. The next model is an Indian rosewood piece that was again first turned on a wooden lathe, forming the bottom base and the top cap. The middle neck is formed into shoelaces style knot and is 3-axis machined from the outside towards the center due to the delicacy of the knot. We see the last few seconds of machining the second setup, completing the 3-axis machining process of this piece. For this knot model, we also show the CNC 3-axis simulation conducted using the free simulation software NC Sim. We started with a stock transparent and now it is opaque. The toolpath display can be removed for better visibility of the final part. We now jump to the other side, making sure the knot is machined from the outside in. Here is the final and finished piece with 2 different views of the same model. The olive tree piece is also formed out by first wood turning the cup and the base, but now the middle neck here is 3-axis machined to create a real knot. In fact, the 3-axis machining was incapable of reaching all locations, and manual carving was also required in this case. And here is the final and finished knot piece in 2 different views.